Game launchers have been tried before. It was a disaster. I'm old enough to remember when big game companies tried to force the consumer down arbitrary robber baron bottlenecks like this before. No, this was before Epic Games. It was even before Steam existed. It was back when DSL internet service around the clock was a new thing. It wasn't the game directly that you had to double pay for, mind you. Rather, I'm referring to that brief point in the mid to late 90s, when game companies like Sega and Square Enix attempted to blend together online and offline services so that online game companies, console-oriented companies, could entice customers into what today is called recurrent user spending, simply by the price of connectivity. As far as I know firsthand, the first major example of this was slightly before my time actually. It was something called SEGAnet. In 1996, the Sega Dreamcast debuted as the world's first online-ready game console. SEGAnet, which it came native with, has been compared to Xbox Live, but this isn't in the strictest sense accurate. Unlike Xbox Live in its early years or in its prime, SEGAnet was necessary for any internet functionality with the Dreamcast. It actually arrived before DSL, when, in the golden age of dial-up, when you had to pay more per the amount of time that you spent online, it was actually much more normal for software companies to function as middlemen between the consumer and the actual internet service provider. The problem is that the Dreamcast, being a discrete design environment with online or live elements, had many games on its short list of titles that were built with online elements from the ground up. So that meant that Sans SEGAnet, now not only do the online features no longer work, games basically can't be played today in their complete or even bare minimum form, like Unreal Tournament, for example. My second example was when Square Enix made today's many AAA companies chomping at the bit to create a launcher client of their own look altruistic by comparison. Square devised a Byzantine marketing technique that used vertical integration in a way that was so baffling and needlessly cruel that it would make the Inquisition look like Where's Waldo. By creating an online quote-unquote portal that made the most of the information society, Square Enix paywalled not just an online game, Final Fantasy XI, and the Play Online client with the sweet card game and funky jazz music, and not just secret tips for the swan song of single-player 90s JRPGs, Final Fantasy IX. No, it got even worse. Final Fantasy IX was designed to be so insanely obscure throughout many of its mini-games, and even a couple of major story sequences, not to mention side quests and puzzles, that like a lot of RPGs at the time with their long bestiaries and skill trees and rare items and whatnot, you as a player would probably wind up dropping the damn $30 to get the strategy guide. But guess what? The strategy guide for Final Fantasy IX, which came built to be used with their very handy-dandy Play Online service, featured on every damn page, like Jack Nicholson's book in The Shining, a specific cipher for you to plug into a computer for it to be decrypted online, therefore artificially forcing you to use their service, almost like defrauding the investors of Square Enix or something. And to do that, of course, you had to use the proprietary client, the aforementioned Play Online. The strategy guide was basically useless without it. 3 prices for the value of 1, am I right? So, next time that you think about complaining about the game clients today, just remember those magic, terrifying words: Play Online.